I had sworn off Marvel. I didn't need Marvel Legends anymore. And then Across the Spider-Verse happened, and I needed Spider People. And then I needed some more. And then, it just so happens that I found the Captain America that I was missing for all those years. Do you want to know why I gave up on Marvel Legends? One, it was because at that point I wasn't really enjoying how Hasbro figures felt anymore. I was burnt out. And I was burnt out on Marvel too. I was super into the MCU and got that fatigue pretty hard. But moreover, I was never satisfied. It was a collection where I had so many characters I didn't even know for the sake of Build-A-Figures that I didn't care about. And the characters I really liked, I never found that one figure. You know, there's a thing in collecting where you can have multiple versions of characters and it feels alright, but you would like to have that one that just captures the figure's energy for you. And to me, a lot of the issues I have with Captain America and some of those Marvel figures, I was having with my favorite superhero of all time. And now that I've found a good Cap, I feel like I can go a very different path. But let's get more into this feeling real quick. You see that guy? That's my first Superman. Justice League Unlimited Superman. Is this a great figure? Not necessarily. He has a lot of issues. Most of them are endemic to that line, but still not a perfect representation. But this is, in my mind's eye, a Superman whose energy I want to recapture. And I spent many years trying to find that perfect Superman for me. As a teenager, my favorite line was DC Universe Classics. And though I spent many years hoping and buying as all the Supermans they ever made, none of them were ever great. They all had some issue. The colors were wrong, or they were using the 90s long hair, or they were too thin, they were too bulky. It was sad because I felt like maybe I'd already capped. Maybe this was the best Superman. And then I found out about the NECA Superman, the Christopher Reeves Superman. Now that's a Superman I love. That's my favorite look for Superman. Surely this figure that everyone tells me is great, that will be the one to finally complete my collection. But it wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. I got it in hand, and despite years of wanting that Superman and hunting it down, I liked it, but it didn't have that sense of finality I wanted. It didn't have that sense of completion. I still wasn't satisfied. Well, then, I started hearing about DC Multiverse and the McFarlane line, and I was there for Wave 1. Wave 1, I got this Superman. And then I wound up selling this Superman because I just wasn't ready to switch to McFarlane yet. And anyone who's watched this channel knows there was a long time where I actively hated the DC McFarlane stuff. So what changed? This guy happened. The new 52 Rebirth Superman. This was the first Superman I got when I got back into the line. And anyone who saw my videos as I was first re-entering Multiverse, I was buying Lex Luthor, I got him, I got the Nightwing figure, the Better Than Batman Nightwing, I got the 3 Jokers. They'll know that this Superman was what solidified my love of the line, but even when I was talking about how much this figure was great, I was convinced that I still needed a different Superman, one that better fit my mind's eye, surely. You see, I tried to convince myself that maybe I was too hard on the original one, so I went back and got the Action Comics 1000 Superman. And you know what I realized? Even though I should like this figure more, even though the colors are more what I want, and the general proportions seem a little bit closer to what's in my mind's eye, it wasn't the Superman I wanted. So I thought, well, there must be something else wrong. Why could I possibly love this one more? There has to be a more traditional Superman out there for me. So I got the Dark Knight Returns Superman. And again, decent figure. I like it. It's fun. But it's not the Superman that I was enjoying the most. It was still Rebirth Superman over there. This Superman of a costume and an era of Superman I didn't necessarily enjoy. Why was this the Superman that finally struck an accord with me? And I think I know what it is. It's something about the general feelings of this figure. The more aged face, the older appearance, the kind of stern and yet still hopeful look, mixed with the metallic reds and blues. Even if this wasn't necessarily the Superman that I was searching for all those years, it was the one that finally gave me the spirit I wanted, the energy I wanted. So, I know that this is a Captain America review. Why am I talking about Superman? Well, very simple. It's because Captain America means a lot of the same that Superman means to me. These are both characters I adore. And even though I don't think Captain America is my favorite Marvel character, he's always been one of my favorites. But they've also had the similar problem of I've never had a Captain America figure I've really enjoyed until now. Before I did my massive Marvel purge, I had a lot of Captain Americas. I had the Diamond Select Captains, specifically the one that came out with the Winter Soldier. That was around the time of the Winter Soldier movie, now that I'm thinking about it. I had all the MCU caps. I had multiple comic caps, the 20th anniversary cap, the Toy Biz dual cap, the one that everyone held up as the greatest Toy Biz Captain America. I had every single version, most every single version of Captain America, and none of them gave me exactly what I wanted. Maybe it was something with the colors. Maybe I didn't like how the torso looked. And I convinced myself the reason was none of them had the wings. None of them had the bright blue. None of them had the traditional comic accuracy that I was so wanting as a proper Marvel Comics fan. Well, then I saw the Diamond Select original debut appearance cap that's going to be coming out soon. And I realized, maybe that's also not what I want. Well, that left me in a bit of a pickle because I'm getting back into Marvel and I would like a cap, but I didn't know which one to go with. I started going online, watching videos, looking at pictures, trying to figure out what is the cap I wanted. But the only thing I knew for sure, because it was the one that would come up first every time, is I didn't want the Ultimate cap. I don't like the Ultimate Comics. I don't like what they did to Captain America in the Ultimate Comics. Surely, he would not be the figure I wanted. Well, that went on for a little bit, and then I caved. I figured, well, tell you what, he's cheap, he's everywhere, he's on sale, there's an Iron Man in that wave I really want. I'll buy this cap as a placeholder until I figure out which cap is my cap. Then I opened this Captain America up, and almost instantly, I realized, I think this is the cap. I think this is the one I always wanted in my collection. Taking a closer look, and I actually really like the head sculpt here. It reminds me of the MCU, which granted the MCU based a lot of their design cues from the Ultimate Comics, so that helps. I am missing the wings, but I do enjoy the general kind of stoic look. What I love is the chain metal here on the chest plates. That looks spectacular. And then the gray underneath the armpits. That reminds me of the Marvel Now cap, which was one of my favorite cap designs. You, of course, have the red, white, and blue here on the belly. Looks great. Then you look at the belt. The belt has so much sculpted detail. No paint wash, which would have been nice, but hey, I do like all the things like the canteen, the medical kit, all these different things that typically wouldn't be on a Captain America belt. And then the lower body is pretty much the same, in which it's simple, could use a little bit extra paint, sure, but what's there is very good. The only issue I have with this cap at all is somewhat loose ankles, and I have ways I can fix that. But then I also love the big circles on the shoulders, the stars there. That's not a traditional cap design, but it kind of caps all this off for me. And it makes me enjoy the overall look of the figure when I was going into this really expecting nothing. What undoubtedly helps is the shield. Very simple, but well painted, exactly what it needs to be, and it's pretty big, which is great, because I prefer Cap to have a big shield. You also have 2 gripping hands, which works very well, along with the 2 fists I have on him right now, and this kind of splayed open hand, which I think looks like the first Avengers comic that Cap was in, where he was like, this was like the Avengers Assemble hand reach almost. Looks pretty cool. The other head sculpt, I wasn't big on at first, mostly because this is the one that he came packaged with. I don't like this snarling Cap, but it's kind of grown on me because I've got him in a few poses where he's like fighting someone, and this is more like a determined, like, I can't stop here face. Still a little too angry for what I would want out of Captain America, but I enjoy it. With all that said, it's what made me realize that this figure that I was buying as a placeholder, and I was convinced myself was going to be a disappointment just because I didn't like the source material, it's my Cap. It's my Captain America. It's the best I've ever felt about any figure of him. It's the best feeling, the best looking, the best posing, the one that captures my mental image of him the most. And for all those reasons, I'm kind of happy that I just so happened to fall back into Marvel collecting when this guy was on the shelves, because otherwise, I may have never found my perfect Cap.